Futaba Igarashi works at Adamaki Trading and dreams of being a salesperson. She's shorter than her colleague, Harumi Takeda, who likes to playfully mess up her hair. They go to different companies to sell stuff. Takeda lets Igarashi do the sales talk, and she makes her first sale. But the next day, Igarashi finds out she made a mistake and has to say sorry to the client. Takeda ends up apologizing for her. One day, Igarashi forgets her train pass and goes back to the office to get it. There she sees Takeda asleep because he stayed late fixing her mistake. The next day, everything is back to normal, and Igarashi comes up with a better sales pitch, making an even bigger sale. She says sorry to Takeda for causing trouble, and they celebrate by going out for drinks. Igarashi gets drunk and asks Takeda if he likes her. He says he does, like a daughter. Igarashi then regrets not being seen like a wife and feels embarrassed about what she said. The next day, Igarashi tells Takeda that she didn't really mean what she said when she was drunk. Takeda admits he found it funny because she was drunk. Igarashi feels both relieved and a bit disappointed. At lunch, Kazama hangs out with coworkers who all want to date Sakurai. Surprisingly, Kazama has never tried asking her out. Igarashi gets annoyed when those coworkers say she looks like Takeda's daughter. To get bigger breasts, Igarashi asks Sakurai for advice. However, she panics when Sakurai assumes it's to impress Takeda. Igarashi goes shopping with Natsumi Kurobe. While trying on clothes, she uses pads to make her bra look bigger. Later, she realizes she forgot to remove the pads when both Takeda and Kazama join her on the train. Strangely, Takeda doesn't notice, which upsets Igarashi. She thinks Takeda doesn't see her as a woman. Meanwhile, Sakurai is asked out by another coworker. Kazama helps her out by faking a phone call, which Sakurai finds sweet. Takeda catches someone taking inappropriate photos of Igarashi's underwear. Sakurai asks Kazama out to dinner, and Igarashi admits she respects Takeda more now. However, she still punches him when he calls her a little lady. Igarashi does something really nice by giving her scarf to a little girl, even though she's freezing herself. In return, Takeda gives her his scarf, which makes her embarrassed when he tells everyone in the office. Later on, Igarashi and Sakurai are chosen to be Santa Clauses for the office. Thinking of getting Takeda a gift, Igarashi considers a necktie, as suggested by Kurobe. Sakurai, dressed as Santa, becomes a hit with the guys in the office, while Takeda playfully teases Igarashi in her Santa outfit. Igarashi feels awkward about giving Takeda the tie and waits too long, missing the chance when Takeda leaves for home. She sneaks into work early the next day to leave the tie on Takeda's desk but panics when Kazama shows up early too. Although they miss the chance to exchange gifts, they go for a Christmas meal after work. Sakurai teases Kazama about her Santa costume, and Kazama finally asks her out for dinner, which she happily accepts. Eventually, Igarashi gives Takeda the tie, and he surprises her with a gift too, a new scarf to replace the one she gave away. The next day, Takeda doesn't wear the tie to keep it clean, asking if he can put it on his desk. An upset Igarashi makes him wear it properly, insisting he doesn't just display it. Igarashi catches a cold, and everyone gets worried about her. She has nothing to eat at home, so she goes to buy groceries. Surprisingly, Takeda is outside her apartment with a bag of groceries for her. He cooks her dinner and leaves when she falls asleep. Igarashi gets better, but she feels really embarrassed because she didn't realize she invited Takeda into her apartment. Later on, Takeda decides to buy a smartphone since he was the last to find out Igarashi was sick. On their day off, Igarashi helps him shop for a smartphone. She promises to take care of him if he ever gets sick. Kurobe sees them together and teases Igarashi about it. Igarashi waits eagerly for Takeda's text, and with Kazama's help, Takeda manages to send one, making her happy. Takeda ends up catching a cold, so Igarashi goes to his apartment to return the favor, even though it embarrasses her. After Takeda eats and falls asleep, Igarashi can't help but wonder what his chin stubble feels like. When he wakes up, she gets so embarrassed that she karate chops him and runs away. The next day, Takeda thanks her, accidentally letting their coworkers know she visited his apartment. Since he enjoyed her cooking, she offers to cook for him again. Valentine's Day is getting close. Igarashi and Kurobe help a young guy find his way, and Igarashi feels happy when he recognizes her as an adult. Sakurai plans to give her usual chocolates to everyone, and the guys hope to get special heartfelt chocolates this time. During the day, Igarashi feels a bit sad because she doesn't spend much time with Takeda. But then, he invites her to have ramen after work. While waiting for Igarashi, Takeda helps the same young guy who was in trouble with thieves. When Igarashi and Sakurai arrive, they realize he's Sakurai's younger brother, Yuto. Takeda and Igarashi go for ramen. Meanwhile, Kazama sees Sakurai with Yuto and thinks they're on a date, which makes him really sad. Igarashi makes chocolates for everyone, including a special green tea one for Takeda since he doesn't like sweets. She worries he might not think it's heartfelt. Sakurai gives heartfelt chocolates to Kazama, but he gets upset, thinking she's just being polite. Sakurai quickly clears up the misunderstanding about Yuto and Kazama apologizes. Later, Igarashi claims to have seen Kazama with a huge grin on his face, but everyone finds it hard to believe. Sakurai accidentally sends a confusing picture of Igarashi and Takeda to Igarashi's grandfather. Igarashi, while shopping for her birthday present, realizes that her birthday is on the same day as Takeda's, so they decide to buy each other flowers. When Igarashi's grandfather shows up, he and Takeda clash over who gets to mess with Igarashi's hair, even though they have similar personalities. Despite trying to avoid each other, Grandpa and Takeda find out they have a lot of hobbies in common. They keep bumping into each other and playfully compete in things like fishing, baseball, and even picking up litter. Slowly, they start respecting each other. Grandpa talks about raising Igarashi until she decided to live on her own for high school. White Day comes, and Kazama gives Sakurai macarons. Takeda gives Igarashi medicine for her yearly hay fever and invites her to dinner for White Day. Takeda runs into Grandpa in the bathroom and reassures him that Igarashi is doing well because she's as stubborn as Grandpa. Some troublemakers bother Igarashi, but Takeda and Grandpa team up to deal with them. Despite being annoyed with both of them, Igarashi forgives them, and they all go to dinner together. When Kurobe was a kid, she took part in sports day, but someone tripped her during a race. Igarashi remembers meeting Kurobe in junior school when she got lost, and Kurobe tricked her into going to an arcade. The office plans to go to a Blossom viewing party as a group. While jogging, Kurobe meets Yuto, who wants to play basketball but is too scared to join the club. Kurobe encourages him to give it a try so he won't regret it later. It turns out that someone purposely tripped Kurobe during sports day, making her dislike competitions, so Igarashi suggested running for fun instead. At the party, Igarashi likes the pink blossoms, but she's embarrassed when Takeda says he prefers green, the color of her hair. They talk about how Kurobe convinced Igarashi to join the art club and even stood up to bullies who teased her. After that, they became good friends, and Kurobe joined the track and field club. Igarashi credits her courage to Kurobe's friendship, and Takeda asks her to draw something for him someday. The party ends when people start getting too drunk. Later on, Kurobe learns from Sakurai that Yuto did end up joining the basketball club. During Golden Week, Igarashi plans to clean her apartment. Kazama overhears Sakurai turning down another coworker, so he spontaneously asks her on a date to an aquarium. Not sure how to act, he treats it like a game. Igarashi scares herself watching scary movies and calls Takeda, but hangs up out of embarrassment. Still, Takeda visits her apartment. At the aquarium, Sakurai tells others she and Kazama are a couple. Since they both have no other plans, Takeda and Igarashi decide to spend Golden Week together. Sakurai praises Kazama for always helping others. During a dolphin show, he almost confesses his selfish reasons but gets interrupted by a dolphin splash. Igarashi and Takeda go for ramen. Kazama buys Sakurai a dolphin toy named Sauda, and Takeda wins Igarashi a toy from a claw machine. Sakurai is bothered by two men until Kazama says they are together, making her blush even though he admits he borrowed the idea from a manga. Everyone returns to work happier than before. Igarashi gets invited to an overnight beach trip with Sakurai, Yuto, and Kurobe. However, she feels bothered when Kazama and Takeda are also invited, thinking she's not as good as Sakurai and Kurobe because they have bigger chests. Takeda reassures her, saying he values her for who she is. During dinner, Igarashi stops Takeda from mentioning that she's cooked for him several times. Elsewhere, Yuto tells Kurobe about a girlfriend and other kids tease him. Kurobe assures him it's normal and suggests the girl might become his girlfriend someday. That night, the girls tease Igarashi about being close to Takeda, and Kurobe questions Sakurai about Kazama. Meanwhile, Kazama can't sleep because of Takeda's snoring. The next morning, Takeda and Sakurai question each other about Igarashi and Kazama, embarrassing both who overhear the conversation. After another day of fun, Kazama gets embarrassing photos of Takeda and Igarashi falling asleep together. Kurobe is happy that Igarashi works with such nice people. Igarashi bravely asks Takeda to spend next summer together. The next day at work, it's clear Igarashi and Takeda both forgot sunscreen, and now they both have dark tans. Sakurai worries she gained weight, so she starts jogging but hides the pain from Kazama. Takeda joins a pork bun eating contest against a colleague but quits when they turn out to be too hot. Kazama tries to teach Yuto basketball, but it doesn't go well, and he gets hit in the face. Sakurai is still thankful to Kazama. Igarashi feels jealous when she learns Takeda spent time with another colleague, Tsukishiro. To make it up, Takeda takes Igarashi for pork buns. Later, they all join a basketball session, annoying Sakurai. After a chaotic game, everyone quits due to injuries, except Kazama and Kurobe, who stubbornly play for almost 2 hours, annoying Sakurai even more because they were supposed to help Yuto. Afterward, everyone decides to visit a public bath, except Sakurai, who wants alone time with Kazama. In the baths, Igarashi is upset she hasn't grown since middle school. Yuto discovers Takeda's secret to his size: lots of food, sleep, and milk. Sakurai and Kazama get hot dogs, while everyone else drinks milk after their hot baths to grow bigger. At the end of the year office party, everyone talks about their plans for New Year's. Later at Sakurai's house, Yuto has plans with his friends, so Sakurai and Kazama will be alone all night. Meanwhile, Igarashi spends the night with Kurobe but misses Takeda. The next morning, everyone goes to the shrine for New Year's Day. Igarashi sees Takeda, so Kurobe makes an excuse to leave Igarashi alone with him. They draw fortunes that say the person they've been waiting for is right beside them, but they hide this from each other. Later at Takeda's favorite restaurant, Igarashi watches Kazama and Sakurai being interviewed on TV. They talk about Igarashi and Takeda's uncertain relationship, making Igarashi furious. She rushes back to the shrine to punish Kazama, while Takeda remains clueless. After recovering, Kazama tells Sakurai he preferred spending the day with her than his original plan of being alone. A nearby child tries to show Kazama a photo, but Sakurai stops him from seeing it, as it shows her kissing him while he was unconscious. Takeda gets a new client, and Igarashi worries he still sees her as a beginner. To prove herself, she volunteers to do one of his presentations alone. It goes well, and they celebrate with ramen, but Igarashi doesn't enjoy it without Takeda. She feels worse when he's invited for drinks by the office ladies. Feeling down, she goes drinking alone and recalls her first day when Takeda mistook her for a schoolgirl. A drunk mistakes Igarashi for a child, scolding her for drinking, until Takeda arrives, sends the drunk away, and joins Igarashi. He says he'd rather drink with her than the other ladies. Igarashi almost asks if he likes her again, but stops herself. Takeda mentions Igarashi has grown a lot in just a year, making her proud. She warns him she'll become a full-grown salesperson and won't need him anymore. Takeda promises to be by her side every day until that happens. While walking in the rain, Igarashi has to share Takeda's umbrella, and it flusters her when he pulls her in close. She declares him to still be her annoying senpai.